For the past few decades, China's transformation from a pretty closed off society into a global superpower has been, without a doubt, one of the biggest stories of our time. So, how on earth did that happen? Well, it wasn't some kind of accident. It was a very deliberate, very calculated strategy, a kind of grand bargain between the Communist Party and its people. Let's dig in. I mean, just take a look at this. This isn't just a pretty skyline. This is a statement. This is the face of modern China, a nation that hasn't just reshaped its own destiny, but the entire global economic map. Its presence is just undeniable, and its influence is felt absolutely everywhere. Okay, want to put a number on that power? Try this one on for size. Today, China produces 15% of the world's entire economic output. That's a huge slice of the global pie. And it really doesn't stop there. The country is also responsible for a whopping 18% of all global trade. It's basically become the world's workshop for, everything from the smartphone in your hand to the shoes on your feet. Now, this slide is really cool because it shows you what that economic power actually looks like. Each country is sized based on its GDP, and wow, China's footprint is just impossible to ignore. That economic gravity pulls on everyone, and it's reshaping global relationships, making the rest of the world more and more dependent on China's success. So that brings us to the big question, right? How did a nation that was once intentionally cut off from the world manage to pull off such a massive transformation? How did it become the giant it is today? Well, the answer lies in a strategy that's been decades in the making. And that answer really comes down to one core concept: a grand bargain struck between the Chinese Communist Party and its people. This single idea has defined the country for more than 30 years. To really get this bargain, we need a little bit of history. So after the Communist Revolution back in 1949, Mao Zedong basically sealed China off from the rest of the world. But by 1978, his successor, Deng Xiaoping, started slowly cracking the door open with economic reforms. And then 1989 happened. The fall of the Berlin Wall sent an absolute shockwave through the Chinese Communist Party. They saw communism crumbling in Europe, and for them, that was an existential threat. The party was watching as communist governments across Europe just fell apart, one after another, leading to the collapse of the Soviet Union itself in 1991. They knew, right then and there, that if they didn't adapt and adapt fast, they could face the exact same fate. Survival meant they needed a whole new game plan. So this is what they came up with. They established a new social pact, a new deal with the Chinese people. And it was pretty simple but profound. Here's the offer. The Communist Party will deliver rapid, nonstop economic growth and a better standard of living for everyone. In return, the people accept the party's total control over politics and they give up political freedoms. And this image just captures the result perfectly. What China created was this one-of-a-kind hybrid system. You've got state-controlled, one-party rule on one side, but on the other, you have this incredibly dynamic, market-driven capitalism. It's a mix of two totally opposite ideas, all engineered for one goal: keeping the party in power by delivering prosperity. So, to make good on their end of this bargain, the party rolled out a really clear four-part plan. First, they kicked private business into high gear. Second, they threw the doors open to foreign trade and investment. Third, they went on an unbelievable building spree: infrastructure, technology, you name it. And fourth, they strategically plugged China into the global economy, with the biggest move being their entry into the World Trade Organization. Every single step was designed to generate massive wealth and prove that the party could deliver the goods. Okay, let's fast forward to today. Under President Xi Jinping, this grand bargain is still very much alive, but it's been updated. You could say it's been refined and reinforced for the 21st century. Since taking power in 2012, Xi's goals have been laser-focused on strengthening the party's hold on power. What does that mean in practice? Well, on the home front, it's about keeping incomes rising while cracking down on corruption. On the economic side, it means making a huge shift from relying on exports to building up a massive market of Chinese consumers. And on the world stage, the goal is crystal clear: become the leader in Asia and become less dependent on the West. So this whole strategy, strengthening things at home while expanding abroad, has created this really complex global web. It's a world of interdependence, and it's leading to both new partnerships and some serious friction with the old guard. This slide right here just nails the core tension. You've got the US and Europe saying, hey, open up your markets, protect our intellectual property, and play by the existing global rules. But China's strategy is to push back. They want to protect key industries, become self-sufficient in technology, and kind of bend the global rules to fit their own model.
And political reform? Oh, that is completely off the table. It has always been the one non-negotiable part of the bargain.
Now, there's a catch to all of this. To keep that massive economic engine running, China has a nearly bottomless appetite for raw materials. And since they don't have enough at home, they've had to look abroad, which has totally changed their relationship with the developing world. And this is where places like Latin America become absolutely critical. I mean, just look at these numbers. The region supplies half of all the copper China imports, a staggering 60% of its soy and 20% of its iron. It is quite literally fueling China's growth. Without these resources, that engine just grinds to a halt. So what you get is this incredibly powerful two-way relationship. As you can see here, Latin America sends a constant flow of raw materials over to China. And in return, China sends back massive investments, builds things like ports and railways, and supplies the region with affordable manufactured goods. So what does this all add up to? When you put all these pieces together and think about the future, a very clear strategic picture starts to emerge. This quote, I think, just sums it up perfectly. For 2 decades, China has been methodically working to become more self-reliant, especially in critical areas like technology. And at the exact same time, the rest of the world, from countries that sell commodities to us as consumers, has become more and more dependent on China. It's a deliberate rebalancing of global power. Which leaves us with this final, really important question. As China keeps executing its grand bargain, making itself stronger at home while making the world more reliant on its economy, what's this new global order going to look like? And maybe more importantly, what will it mean for the rest of us living in it?